What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall market. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. And the offer ends very soon in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the markets and Tesla. So overall, Tesla's doing a pretty good job at holding up. It's on a very, very nice uptrend. We started off with this pump to about 378, only to get this rejection, and now we're going to be watching to see if it could hold above our 20 EMAs. So there was some news involving Elon Musk that has come out. Musk has been once again reiterating the fact that he is totally okay with the new administration's policies to get rid of the majority of the tax credits for certain EVs. And Musk is saying that, and he basically said back in July, and I quote, to take away the subsidies, it will only help Tesla. And then he reiterated that very, very recently, right? So he's continuing to say the same things about how he's in favor of getting rid of the tax credits. And this may have confused a lot of people about why on earth he would want to do this. Well, I saw this headline here that kind of breaks this down very nicely. There's two main reasons as to why. The first thing is that Tesla has a very, very big advantage over its competitors, right? They have a lot more sales and they've scaled a lot more compared to other American companies. And they're one of the only profitable EV companies that's in the US right now. So, with tax credits going away, it would make things harder for the competitors and would give Tesla a bigger edge, at least in that regard. And the second main reason, which Musk is thinking about, is how he's very forward looking. Musk is thinking that autonomous cars are going to become the future, and he believes that there's going to be so much revenue from that to the point where, like, it could really offset the changes that come from the EV tax credits. So that's part of why he's saying that. I do agree with him for the long term. I think Tesla will be fine. But I think that for the short term, if they do reduce these tax credits, if they get rid of them, that's going to hurt Tesla as well, and it's going to hurt its competitors as well. Maybe Tesla will be hurt a little bit less. You could argue that, but it's still going to hurt Tesla to some extent for the short term. For the long term, however, Tesla is going to be completely fine. When it comes to other pieces of data, just know that the overall unemployment numbers were decent. The market has tried to push a bit, but now we're starting to see some stocks slowing down. And then we had the Michigan consumer sentiment data. Everything was very close to expectations, and we're doing quite fine. So now let's talk about the charts. So as far as Tesla goes, we are range bound. Once again, we have this range right here. As we get to the lower 270 area, Tesla tends to get bought back up. But as we get closer to about I'm sorry, the 370 area. Excuse me, guys. I meant 370, not 270. 370 areas where Tesla has its main support. Our resistance to watch for is at 378. We tend to slow down once we hit these higher levels in the 370s. So we're just stuck going back and forth between these levels. Now, to be bullish, you want to see us break past 380. And to be bearish, you want to see us lose 370 flat. Otherwise, we're just range bound for now. And I think that Tesla will just continue to trade sideways for a large chunk of the day. Now, if the market slows down more, that could drag things down for Tesla. There could be a risk of this dipping down closer to 373 again. But watch the main support of the day at 373.6. That's going to be our 20 EMA. If that were to fail, we're looking for 370, then potentially 368 all over again. I think Tesla's going to continue to just be range bound right now, which hurts a lot of premiums. So I know we'll need to be careful at trading Tesla because options can lose premium pretty quickly because of this chop. Now, as far as SPY goes, we did a great job at pushing to the upwards direction. We hit this resistance around 609. But the issue is that upon this rejection, we ended up coming right back down. And now we're looking at 608 as our main support. So I called out, excuse me, 608 in my earlier video. I talked about how we're going to be watching to see if we could hold above that or not. As of right now, we're barely holding on to that. But if we lose this support, we could easily come all the way down towards 607.5. And if that were to fail us, then these lows from the pre-market could be tested. So be very, very careful if that ends up being the case. I also want to mention that we gapped up today. I know the gap doesn't show because I don't really have my because I have the extended hours on, but we did gap up. So there is a gap to fill below if we do end up losing our key supports. SPY is going to likely continue to shuffle at 608, but there is a risk of this potentially seeing a possible pivot, especially as we have this bearish divergence. So we'll just have to see how this ends up developing. So just keep that in mind. If you guys look at ES, we did push a little bit more. We got a little bit above our 6100 area, but notice that we're getting a rejection. We're struggling to hold above 6100 right now. We'll have to see if we could sustain that level by close. If not, there is going to be a risk of us coming back down to about the 6080 area. So be careful on ES. For Bitcoin, we pumped very nicely, but now we're hitting 99,000 as a tough resistance. And we're just chopping around here. So I do expect this to continue for some time. Bitcoin's not doing much. It's very, very choppy for the time being. It is a Friday, so that's completely normal. On Nvidia, I said Nvidia's looking kind of weak to me. Notice we hit 146. We came just short of 146, then we rejected, and we have this head and shoulders like structure that developed on the 30 minutes time frame. So this is looking a little bit more bearish. Our main support right now is at 141.9. If that fails on Nvidia, we're dipping all the way down to 140 flat. Our resistance to watch for is going to be around 143. Overall, I think we're doing a good job at trying to hold our 200 EMA, but there's going to be a risk of us coming down to 141, so watch those levels very closely. So we'll see what happens at least from there. As far as Tesla goes, once again, we're just range bound, by the way, so just watch those levels. If the whole market turns, that could drag Tesla down. I just want to clarify that one more time, so be a little bit careful. But otherwise, it's just range bound. NQ pumped quite a bit. We got a nice push, but then notice that we're back at 21,600. We'll have to see if we could hold above that. If not, we're coming back down towards this previous resistance becoming support at 21,560. And if that fails us, then I'd be looking for us to potentially retest 21,500. So watch those levels very closely. We're kind of shuffling at 21,600. We'll see if that holds on NQ. For the QQQ, we pushed about 525, so this was stronger than SPY and the others, but now we're consolidating in the 525s. We'll have to see if this holds. As of right now, it's looking more bullish, but if 525 fails us, there could be a dip back down towards 523.8. So we'll see if the level holds or not, so be very, very patient nonetheless. For Apple's range bound. So we pushed up to about 244. Now we're consolidating here. So it's showing a little bit more life. That's because we had some interesting news involving a lawsuit that was settled. So this is actually pushing upon that release. And we'll see if we could try to break past 244 or not. Otherwise, we're going to chop very close to that area. Unfortunately, the IWM was a little bit weaker. We attempted to push to 240. We're not holding above that. So we're range bound between 240 and 238. We could dip closer to the lower 238s, and we'll see what happens after that. For Coinbase, Coin is trying to push higher. We hit 336. I did call that out in my morning video. I did expect some upside. Um, if we continue this trend, 340 could be coming, so we could push closer to that. Then we'll see what happens after that. For Amazon, we look more bullish. We're approaching 225. We managed to break 222. I mentioned if we broke that, we'd be looking for a push, but excuse me. So far, we're doing a great job, and this could push even higher for 226. For Meta is trying to push higher for 630. I was worried this was a little bit weaker during the pre-market, but then we got bought back up. And the reason for that is because we got some big news that came out as we're starting to see a bullish target from different analysts out there. So very, very bullish news came out with the $700 price target for Meta. That's why the share price went up. Microsoft's holding up nicely at 444. As long as we're above that, we could look for 446 very soon. And Google's trying to bounce as well. So we're seeing big tech bouncing, holding up so far. That's why I think the QQQ is stronger. But just know for SPY, despite the fact that we pushed a bit, watch that 608 area. We're just barely holding on to that. If we do lose that, there could be a pivot coming. And this could start to dip a little bit later on. So we're going to likely continue to shop around and shuffle near 608 on SPY, but then there is that risk of downside. As far as Tesla goes, we're still range bound. We're stuck between the resistance near 378. We're very close to that area. Our main support's at 370, so I think we just remain range bound for now. So it's not really doing a whole lot, but things could shift. I do have a warning though, in case the market does start to like slow down as time goes on. That could slow Tesla down, and it could return back down to its 20 EMA, which happens to be around the 373 area. Otherwise, we're just range bound. Anyways, that's it for my video. I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys very soon in just a couple of hours. Have a good day, and peace out.